Yeah, Karen, thanks so much for having me on. And let me just, before I even start, say this, like we I know try to appear on social media like we have it all together. And the truth is we're all just striving to survive, right? Like that's the truth. And I think sometimes we get really in that whole comparison game about somebody has it more together. The truth, okay, so for me personally, I like all my ducks in a row and am willing to shoot ducks and bribe ducks and pay them off to get in a row. Like my life, my success, I feel like is really good when life is working out right, right? And so learning to manage the disappointment when it's not. And that's what's going to jump me right into it, first of all. So just to piggyback on what you said, Karen, no one has a right to steal our hope. I don't care if the kids are acting like they have lost their ever loving mind. We still have a right to have hope, right? I don't care if your electric bill is 18 times more than what it was last month. Like we still have a right to have hope. Is life tough? Yes. And do we battle some of this stuff? Yes. But remember, when you feel hopeless, that is not of God, and you have a right. You hear me what I'm saying? It's a right to have hope. So don't let anybody steal that from you. So I just wanted to say that because listen, we all get into that place where we start feeling hopeless. And we have to, there was never a better time to stop, challenge, and choose is when you feel that way. Because that's not of God. That's not who you are. That's not who we are as CEO women, right? Because we have a right to hope. It doesn't mean life is perfect. Matter of fact, just so you know, the biggest response I ever got on a Facebook post, this was ever before I was coaching, was when one time I just had it with my youngest son, because he is the one. And I said, have you ever just looked at your child that you gave birth to and loved and wanted to punch him in the face? And I mean, it blew up. And it was so real and raw at the moment. Like I looked at him and I just thought, Lord, Jesus, take the wheel in my hand because he's about to die, right? And it blew up because I think every now and then somebody needs to know we don't always have it together. But they also need to know that I also don't live there. I don't live in that pit. Right. And so just look, I hope that encouraged somebody. Like if you wanted to punch your kid in the face, I've been there, and Jesus spared his life because sometimes life just happens. Right. So I want to talk a little bit today about disciplining your disappointments. And I heard this saying years ago when I first realized that my ducks would not stay in a row, like no matter how hard I tried. And I heard this statement: expectations plus reality equals disappointment. And when I first heard that, I was like, man, that is so true. So as human beings, what we do is tend to lower our expectations. What Optavia has taught me is that I don't have to lower my expectations. I can manage my disappointments. And I love that. It gave me the right to dream again because I can manage the disappointments, right? And so I'm just going to talk a little bit about that. But how do we respond to disappointments? Because that happens. Some of you may be very disappointed. If you're not, you should be, that you're not going to convention. Some of us could be disappointed that we were supposed to go when something happened and we can't go. Like life happens like that. By the way, the online is your key, guys. Do that right now. That's the key. Okay. But how do we manage that? So here's what we should not do, but what we do. Okay, so I'm just going to speak to myself, and if it relates to you, you can go ahead and adopt it. But what happens is when I experience a disappointment, whether it's in my business or my family, my kids, what my church, my ministry, whatever I experience the disappointment in, the first thing I tend to want to do, human nature, is find other people who are discouraged so that we can have a pity party together. That's human nature. That's what we want to do. Oh, how is your business doing? Oh, how is your kids doing? Okay, well, my kids aren't quite as bad as her kids, so that makes me feel better. And my business is not quite as bad as her. Like we start, okay, here's what I want to tell you. When we get that away, stop looking for the people who are doing worse than you to make yourself feel better and start offering yourself hope. And one of the ways to do that is, where were you last month at this time? Where were you a year ago at this time? And every now and then when I get discouraged on my health journey, I go back to my before pictures and I'm like, dang, okay, I'm going to talk myself right on happy again, right? Because I am 47 pounds down and hold it. Like, I'm just going to remember where I came from so that I'm not where I want to be today. Maybe I had a bad day yesterday on my health journey, but gosh, I got to remember where I came from and get right back on that. And so sometimes we get so lost in trying to Beth Moore, a Bible study teacher, said it this way. She says, we get in the pit, and instead of trying to get out, we just start decorating down there and inviting friends for coffee. And it's a terrible place to be, because you're going to realize that you're going to find a group of friends who will give you that, but it's not feeding good, right? So how do we manage that? How do we see the glass half full or half empty? The truth is, we're all just going through life with things. If you're not going through anything right now, just hang on. Like, life is going to happen, but we grow as we learn to manage the disappointments. And by managing the disappointments, we'll reap the rewards of our work. So if you weren't happy with your June last month, it's okay. I looked at my June 2 years ago and I was like, wow, I grew a whole lot in 2 years. I'm going to celebrate that victory, right? And put that to bed and do better, because we have the choice to choose how we feel. Now, listen, this is a statement that I said years ago that's been resonating with me for all these years. Feelings, although true, are not always real. I may feel disappointed in my June, my business, or my kids are not acting right, right? I may feel disappointed, but what's truth? The truth is, I remember when I had a poverty mindset. I don't have that anymore, right? The truth is, my kids, listen, they're going to be kids and they're finding their own way, right? And they're going to disappoint me because they're going to make decisions. But the truth is, I disappointed my parents. And I feel like I turned out okay. I mean, God's still working on me. I get it. But you know what I'm saying? So I think sometimes we get stuck on the thought that my kids aren't acting right. And then all of a sudden that becomes our thought, instead of saying, wait a minute, I didn't act right either, but I got it together. So I'm just going to pray that they get it together. Or my business didn't do good last year, but look, 2 years ago from where I'm at now to now, oh my gosh, I'm doing good. And I think sometimes we don't manage the disappointment because we don't take the thought captive. We don't stop, challenge, and choose. And then we start inviting friends to feed into that disappointment. So just a couple of things I just wanted to share as I close. In your health journey, remember where you came from. You're disappointed in your health journey, because what happens is we get disappointed in our health journey, and then we're just going to go eat the dang pint of ice cream, right? Instead of remembering, wait a minute, for 4.5 years, I've maintained 47 pounds. Like, I'm going to be okay with that, right? It's going to be okay, and I'm going to be good. I'm going to offer hope to people. In your business, if you're not happy where you're at, guys, if it's going to be, it's up to me, right? Change it. I can do more. By the way, all of us on here can do more. We can have more conversations. We can offer more hope. We can go live more. We can do all the stuff. We can start checking on our clients on pause. Like, we can do the stuff. There is more you can do. Or you can stay all up in your feelings and never move forward. Right? And the third thing, if you're upset with, listen, guys, you're going to have to get to the point where people's decisions don't affect your hope. And gosh, I deal with that. I know my team deals with that. But when somebody cancels, that's not on you. I mean, unless it is, right? Be a good coach, right? Own it. We take responsibility. We play above the line. I am so sorry I didn't coach you well. Can I have another chance, right? But if people are canceling for whatever reason, they're on vacation, they got food, somebody quit and gave them all their, I mean, you know, all the stuff, right? That's not on me. I'm a really good coach. I'm just going to go find enough people that's not going to disappoint me when that happens. They know I'm here for them. So guys, this is what I want to say. How do we manage disappointment? If you can learn how to manage this, then you will reap the harvest of the other side of hope, right? How do we do it? We talk ourselves, David in the Bible says he encouraged himself in the Lord. Man, I have to do self-talk all the time, because when we speak, we create. So be careful what you speak. So start speaking hope over your life. Start speaking, and it's not, guys, it's not shameful to feel a certain way. What's shameful is we choose to stay there. We all have we're going to be there, but we all have the choice to move on out of that. So thank you, Karen, for letting me share. Thank you all for coming out past the life of disappointment.